Good morning, America. President-elect Trump shakes things up on his victory lap, makes a major announcement to the crowd.
We are going to appoint Mad Dog Mattis as our Secretary of Defense.
As Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump's campaign teams clash overnight, going head-to-head in a nasty post-election showdown.
Do you think I ran a campaign where white supremacists had a platform?
It did. Kellyanne did.
Trump's senior advisor Kellyanne Conway joins us live this morning.
Wicked weather, the South reeling from that tornado outbreak and devastating wildfires. Now new storms moving in. The urgent warning about rains and flooding and the deep freeze on the way for millions.
Deadly road rage. The former NFL player killed during a violent confrontation. First responders rushing to the scene trying to save him. The investigation right now.
And that bombshell ABC News exclusive, the missing California mom's husband sharing the moment his son learned she was coming home.
I said, you know what, buddy? I found Mom.
We have the phone call when he learned she was alive in the dramatic family reunion, only on GMA this morning.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And we do say good morning, America, on this Friday morning. And this 2020 interview is something else tonight. You're going to hear things that may change the way you think about the story.
Yeah, the family's been through so much, Robin. It's amazing what they continue to share. And we're going to hear about that incredible moment when the kids finally got to see their mom for the first time.
Yeah, Keith Papini is really opening up. Made a lot of news that interview. Guess who else made a lot of news last night?
Let's see. President-elect.
President-elect Trump, that's exactly right. Back on the campaign trail for what he's calling a thank you tour. Kellyanne Conway standing by. We're going to hear from her in a moment.
But first, let's get to Tom Yamas. He's in Cincinnati, where the president-elect made that surprise announcement about his choice for defense secretary. Good morning, Tom.
A major announcement indeed. Good morning, Robin. 3 weeks pent up in Trump Tower, and last night, President-elect Trump unleashed this event in Cincinnati, just like his campaign rallies. Impulsive and unscripted at times, and Trump even going after his enemies, including Hillary Clinton. Trump seeming to overshadow the big news that he helped save jobs at that carrier plant to deliver a raucous rally. Overnight, President-elect Donald Trump back in his element, taking his post-election show on the road for a thank you tour.
I'm here today for one main reason, to say thank you to Ohio.
Trump, who after the election said it was a time to come together as a country, back in battle mode.
Although we did have a lot of fun fighting Hillary, didn't we?
His supporters erupting into a chant of lock her up. Then just like he did during the campaign,
Very dishonest people.
Trump going after the media.
I love this stuff. Should I go on with this just a little bit longer?
And defending some of his Wall Street cabinet picks.
He put on a billionaire at Commerce. Well, that's because this guy knows how to make money, folks.
The president-elect surprising the crowd and even his own staff with an impromptu announcement.
We are going to appoint Mad Dog Mattis as our Secretary of Defense. Mad Dog. He's great.
The retired Marine general has a reputation for being relentless and outspoken. Mattis led a Marine division during the invasion of Iraq and headed the United States Central Command from 2010 to 2013. He earned his nicknames Mad Dog and the Warrior Monk for his attention to military tactics and strategy.
They say he's the closest thing to General George Patton that we have, and it's about time. It's about time.
As for Secretary of State, that decision expected to come soon. The president-elect saying this about Mitt Romney, his one-time foe, now a contender for the job.
We got along very well. He was very nice in terms of his remarks afterwards, and I think it was very good. We have some terrific people and terrific people to come.
Now, we do want to mention General Mattis likely will be confirmed, but it is not a done deal because the defense secretary has to be out of the military for at least 7 years. Mattis retired in 2013, and George, already some Democrats are saying they're going to block the congressional waiver he needs to be approved.
Yeah, they're
George?
saying they're not going to vote for it. Tom, thanks very much for getting out of that clash last night between Trump and Clinton aides. It happened at Harvard, where campaign teams meet to go over the race. Usually it's pretty civil shop talk. Last night, heated and personal. The feelings clearly raw. Take a look.
I would rather lose than win the way you guys did.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes. Yes.
That's very clear today. No, you wouldn't, respectfully. Do you think I ran a campaign where white supremacists had a platform? You going to look me in the face and tell me that?
It did. Kellyanne
Really?
did.
And that's how you lost?
It did.
Do you think you could have just had a decent message for the white working class voters? Do you think this woman who has nothing in common with
I'm not
anybody,
saying that's why you won, but that's
these
the kind of
counties
campaign
we
that was
flipped
run.
over
Yes.
200? How about it's Hillary Clinton? She doesn't connect with people. How about they have nothing in common with her?
I would just say Hillary did win the popular vote. So when we're talking about a majority of the
But she
country,
didn't win.
No, just purely factual.
He was a better candidate. That's how he won.
Let's have a debate. Well,
No, actually, let's not.
Actually,
Let's just
2.5 million
kill-
more
excuse
Americans
me.
thought she was a better candidate.
We're going to
Okay.
keep talking about the wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If you want to go back to the wrong track
actually-
number,
No, I don't. I just want to go back to the 270 or the 306 that we won, because that's how you win the presidency, and we did it.
And Trump's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway, joins us now from Boston. Kelly, it did get pretty heated last night. Thank you for joining us this morning. Now, it's unlikely you're going to ever win over Clinton aides, but how about her voters? It is a fact that President-elect Trump lost the popular vote. How does President-elect Trump reach out to that majority of voters who did not support him?
George, he keeps doing what he said he'd promised to do on election night, which is be the president of all Americans, including those who do not vote for him. And he's already reaching out to people in many different ways. Look, I understand it was a bruising campaign. I understand the Clinton team and most people in America never even thought about the possibility that the other candidate, Donald Trump, might win, but he did. And he won 30 of 50 states, and he won 2,600 counties, and he turned 200 counties that President Obama had carried over to the Donald Trump column. That doesn't happen because of a Jim Comey letter. That doesn't happen because of media coverage. It happens when you have a message that connects with Americans. And you saw that message on display yesterday in Indianapolis. Donald Trump, before he's even inaugurated, made good on the promise to keep American jobs in America. People want these kinds of results. And I just, the idea that people can't get past the grief, denial, and anger stages and into the acceptance stages really defies what Secretary Clinton and President Obama themselves had said.
And I want to talk about the carrier.
This is our president-elect.
I want to talk about that carrier deal as well, but you talk about the bruising campaign. It seemed to continue last night in Cincinnati. You had that crowd chanting, "Lock her up, lock her up."
Although we did have a lot of fun.
That's the way they feel. And there would be officials who are in charge of such things in the Trump administration who may look at that again. But Donald Trump made very clear last week as the president-elect that he's moved on from that he's more focused on things like health care, immigration, bringing jobs back to America.
So you're
in the case of
suggesting
Carrier,
now,
keeping
you're
them here in the
suggesting
first
now that the
place.
Trump administration may actually pursue prosecution?
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. That would be something I would not be able to say. But I'm reminding everybody what the president-elect said last week, which is he's moving on to focus on the future, not the past. And he has said to the New York Times on the record, he thinks that the Clintons have suffered enough. Of course, the Department of Justice, the different committees, the FBI perhaps, can take a different look. But nobody expects that. Nobody's talking about that right now. And I think yesterday was just a great day for him to go and say thank you to 18,000 people at a rally in Cincinnati. Thank you to Carrier for working with this would-be administration and keeping these 1,000 jobs here in America. That's what people wanted. They voted for results.
And, talking about the carrier, the Wall Street Journal, usually an ally of Republican presidents, had an editorial this morning called Trump's Carrier Shakedown. His Carrier Shakedown, they wrote, is a short-term political victory that will hurt workers and the economy if it becomes the norm for the next 4 years. Are you worried about that?
We don't look at this as a political victory. We don't look at this as political at all, George. We look at it as a victory for the worker at Carrier. Donald Trump gave voice and visibility to the forgotten man and forgotten woman he made an example of Carrier from the beginning as one that perhaps could work with his incoming administration to keep these jobs here. This is the way things should work, where you have private companies and the administration, frankly, working together to find a solution. This has been people's frustration with Washington for decades, is that you're not forced to solve anything, you're just forced to talk about it. You saw on display last night the way things are going to work in a Trump-Pence administration. The USA is open for business.
We also heard a lot from President Trump this week on Twitter. He sent out that tweet saying that he would have won the popular vote if millions of illegal voters had not voted. That claim is groundless. Isn't it irresponsible for a president-elect to make false statements like that?
I think it's groundless. Talk about fake news. The fake news is that somehow the popular vote is more important than the Electoral College vote now. I mean, I watched ABC and other networks religiously, George. All I saw was Road to 270. I never heard Road to popular
Kellyanne,
vote.
that's not what I asked. No one is questioning the victory. I said, is it appropriate, is it responsible for a president-elect to make false statements like that?
Well, first, many people are questioning the victory. You've got people spending millions of dollars wasting money and time in the Clinton and Stein camps in Wisconsin, Michigan, and they tried in Pennsylvania to recount. So not everybody has, quote, accepted the election results. But to your question, the president-elect has been talking to different people, including Chris Kobach of Kansas, about voting irregularities or the number of illegal votes that may have been cast. And I believe that he based his information on that.
There is no evidence that there were millions of illegal votes. Zero.
There's also no evidence that a recount is going to change the results in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But we, the victors, continue to be, we're the only people asked about the election results and about who voted and who didn't vote. But this whole discussion about the popular vote it's frankly, it's frankly an outshoot by those who can't accept the election results as to why the election results, where the people have spoken and given Donald Trump well over 270 electoral votes, 306, including states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania that Republicans have not won in decades. They're trying to deny him his rightful victory. And I think those who won't accept the election results and are engineering this millions of dollars waste of money in these states recounting the vote, George, really should be asked the question, why can't you allow this president-elect to form his government the way President Obama and Secretary Clinton have suggested they would like him to do?
Is that statement by President-elect Trump true?
I'm sorry?
Is that statement by President-elect Trump true?
Well, he's been receiving information about the irregularities and about the illegal votes, particularly from sources, officials like Chris Kobach, as I mentioned. But he is messaging to his supporters and to the rest of the country the way he feels, just the way the Clinton team is pretending that the scapegoat in this election is Jim Comey, pretending that a lack of an economic message for those who feel that their jobs are being threatened is sufficient. A lack of a message that really gave a visionary, uplifting, aspirational way of looking at things in those closing days. I mean, Hillary Clinton's message was all negative. They're never asked that. We're just asked about Donald Trump's tweets, and we're just asked about different things that he says on the trail. There is no trail anymore. He's the president-elect. And I think what people will see is strong leadership in nominating Mad Dog Mattis for General Mattis for Secretary of Defense. I think they'll see strong leadership in keeping those jobs in Indianapolis. These are the results that America wanted.
Kellyanne Conway, thanks for coming on and answering our questions this morning.
Thank you.
All right, George, we're going to move on now to that new warning about another storm heading for the south as the region recovers from those devastating tornadoes and fires. Rob, I know you're tracking it all for us.
Robert, these storms are going to go right over the same areas. Idaho, Alabama, one of 33 confirmed tornadoes. This was an EF3, and of course the fires in and around Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Over 300 homes and businesses that leached damage there. Today, the first time some of those residents are going to be able to go back into their homes. It will be dry today and tomorrow. Beyond that, we're not so sure. We're looking at rain developing across Texas tomorrow during the day on Sunday, getting up into the storm zone as well. And then another round here. This could bring some severe weather getting it through Monday and Tuesday. Rainfall amounts could exceed 6 inches of rain in some spots. Behind this is the coldest air of the season. We'll talk more about that in about 5 minutes. George?
Okay, we're going to move on now to that deadly road rage incident in Louisiana, where former NFL player Joe McKnight was killed during an argument. The shooter now in custody. ABC's Marcia Evacampo has the details.
And Joe McKnight's going to run it back.
He was a star running back.
McKnight into Ravens
territory.
First in college for USC.
McKnight trying to dance to the outside.
And then later for the New York Jets.
107 yards.
But this morning, 28-year-old Joe McKnight is dead. Authorities believe the victim of a road rage incident in New Orleans. The shooting reported just before 3 p.m. Thursday. A witness saying she saw two men arguing before McKnight was shot.
That man just got out and shot that man.
First responders rushing to the scene, performing CPR on McKnight as police took the alleged shooter into custody.
We have in custody and are interviewing the shooter in this case, who stayed on the scene, relinquished his weapon to our officers, an individual identified as Ronald Gasser, a white male, 54 years of age.
Now, this is not the first tragic road rage incident in New Orleans. Just this April, former New Orleans Saints football player Will Smith was killed in his car, shot several times in the back. Now, as for the suspect in McKnight's shooting, police say they do expect to file charges, and Robin McKnight does leave behind a young son. Very tragic story.
Oh, incredibly tragic. All right, Mara. Now to a terrifying school incident. A 15-year-old Utah boy walking into his junior high with two guns, firing off a shot before his parents jumped in, stopping a potentially deadly scenario. ABC's Lindsay Davis has all the details.
This morning, police credit a 15-year-old's parents noticing something wasn't quite right and springing into action to prevent a disaster in the making.
Student with a gun at Mueller Park Junior High. There was an active shooter. He's under control now. Possibly with a 12-gauge shotgun.
It was 8:13 a.m. when police got the call.
We have a kid with a gun. His parents have him. He has a gun. Did he actually fire off any rounds? He did.
A student with a gun at Mueller Park Junior High School outside Salt Lake City.
I was just like so in shock, and I just got under a desk and covered.
Police say a 15-year-old student armed with a 12-gauge shotgun and a 9mm handgun fired one shot into the ceiling. But investigators say his own parents were already on the way. Concerned about his recent behavior, they then noticed two guns missing from their home. They rushed to the school, heard the shot, and went toward the sound.
A teacher and a student in that room immediately engaged him verbally in trying to talk him out of doing this. I believe those seconds played a big role in the outcome today.
Witnesses say the parents did disarm their son. Everyone at the school is safe now after they acted so quickly. The community is certainly thankful to them this morning. Robin.
Absolutely. Lindsay, thank you. We're going to go to Amy now with the morning's other top stories, and we are still thinking of all those people in Tennessee.
It is a very tough situation there. The death toll, in fact, from those historic fires in eastern Tennessee is now 11. Mudslides and blocked roads have hampered the search for survivors in remote areas. And today, residents and business owners in Gatlinburg are being allowed back into that area to survey the damage for the first time. Well, a Russia spacecraft carrying cargo to the International Space Station has burned up in the atmosphere, breaking up just minutes after this launch. The unmanned ship was carrying food and fuel. It is unclear what caused the malfunction. Well, Princess Cruise Lines will pay a record $40 million fine after pleading guilty to pollution charges. Authorities say 5 ships were illegally dumping wastewater, and they say crew members conspired to cover up that process. And in Philadelphia, the FBI is searching for the man in the video who dropped off a package last week. They say it contained a homemade explosive device, which later seriously injured the homeowner. Police have not yet identified a motive in that case. And then finally, the most bizarre mugshot we have seen in quite a while. Take a look for yourself. Yeah. This jailbird in Oregon had a parrot with him when he was arrested. He didn't want to leave the bird outside in a tree. Last we heard, the man was in jail. The parrot flew the coop. No, his friend actually came. His friend actually came and picked up the bird, and he's hoping to be reunited
But
soon.
since when do you get to choose how you're going to take your picture?
I'm just surprised. They're like, that's cool. That's totally fine. Just
You
keep a
even
parrot
got
on your shoulder.
pun in the Chiron today, jailbird in the Chiron.
No, I do my best, George.
do.
You're welcome.
Rob, what about this deep freeze?
George, it's been a mild fall. This is a temperature reading out of Denali in Alaska. That's where the cold air has been building, and it's going to be driving down to the south. And end of next week, by far the coldest air of the season, wind chills below 0. Your weekend getaways now brought to you by Cosequin.
You know, people always ask me, hey, Jungle Jack,
does that Cosequin really work? I say, heck yeah, look at him go. And Cosequin keeps all kinds of dogs moving. Big dogs, tiny dogs, spotted dogs, wiener dogs, and even these guys.
For dogs, cats, or horses, trust Cosequin, the #1 vet-recommended retail brand of joint health supplements the Hannas rely on.
Merry Christmas from the Nutramax family. And don't forget, Cosequin makes a great stocking stuffer.
Available at veterinarians and pet aisles nationwide.
Today will be some 10 degrees cooler than yesterday, so for sure you're going to need the warm jacket stepping out. Upper 30s for temperatures starting out today, this Friday. 50 degrees though, there's the breeze blowing, 52 this afternoon. But with the wind, it will feel like temperatures are in the upper 40s today. It'll feel like we're in the low 40s this weekend. And look at next weekend, 43 to 40 degrees. We are looking at conditions trending colder and colder. Our next chance of rain not until next Tuesday.